Two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome, Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the YouTube Livey. First and foremost, shout out to everybody who's watching this live, this replay. We appreciate you. New episode drop today or whenever you're watching this, May 10th. Episode 84 with Brett Barish, the man, the legend behind things like Luke Belair. He had something to do with Ace of Spades, Duce, just a lot of things. So if you have not heard that episode just yet, you still have time. Just do it after you watch this. You feel me? Anyways.
Absolutely.
Moose, how are we feeling?
Feeling pretty good, man. I just snuck in some last-minute Chick-fil-A before we got on. I was like, all right, let me just fuel up with a little Chick-fil-A. Remember, we joked about Chick-fil-A being the fast food healthy version of or the healthy version of fast food. So yeah, no, feeling pretty good, man. Excited to have this conversation. I think it's gonna be. I don't know. I feel good about this one. I think it's gonna be special.
Hey, if you like it, I love it. You feel me? You like it, I love it.
Let's go.
And shout out to everybody who is watching right now. If you heard the episode already, okay, let us know what you think. All right, let us know what you think. And then don't forget to like and share. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. But
come on now.
I am still recovering. Not like that, people. Because we talked about Brett Barish and I don't drink, so not like that. You know what I mean? I just came back from Mexico and this 2 flights thing, shout out to everybody who lives in Virginia. We have a hard life. There's no straight flights to anywhere unless you use like Breeze or something like Frontier, but I can't do it. No offense to those people who do. I can't do it. And it's starting to hurt my soul. First, I was driving everywhere. That hurt my soul. We stopped that a few years ago. Except for emergency cases. And now we're just flying, and I'm just flying just unnecessary hours. This is just trash.
Yeah, the struggle of not being by a major airport, man. That's no joke.
Hurts my soul. Shout out to Trucking from Scratch. I see you. Hitting that super chat. And as a reminder, real quick, if we add value in this live, or if any of our content, if you're watching this live, definitely hit the super chat. It's like a tipping system for the creators. And then if you're watching the replay, there is this super thanks that you could also leave a tip even if you're not watching this live. So that's all I wanted to say. But Moose, what are we talking about?
Man, so, this was actually inspired by one of your reels. So I was, I think I tapped into Instagram. Yes, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, sometime like that. And I saw the reel that you made where you were meditating. I was like, okay, let's talk about it. Because if you think about it as, and for anyone who identifies either as a creative or an entrepreneur, you rely so much on your mental to help you generate any and everything. Energy, inspiration, ideas, finance, everything. Like there's so much that you need to create from nothing and put out into the world so people can be a part of it or share experiences with you or connect with you or see something differently or learn from you, whatever it may be. So it is so difficult to be able to do any of that, be productive, or actually see some level of progress if you're not right between your ears, right? Like your mental is not right. And for me, I'm really learning this more and more, that boundaries are extremely important for your own mental health. You know, like just to be the ability to set boundaries, the way you navigate certain conversations and relationships, and just the demands of everyday life, so that you can be able to survive as a creative entrepreneur, super critical. So I was like, you know what? Let's have the conversation around just that. How do creative entrepreneurs protect their peace, or I want to call it their mental health, whatever it is, but I really think more so protecting your peace, so that you can be able to generate your ideas and not have these peaks and valleys of extreme creativity and then a wall of block and just absolutely nothing. A great deal of productivity and then no energy, just feeling burnt out, no direction, not knowing what to do. And I think if people locked in a little bit more, they would recognize that a lot of that comes in from allowing others into your space who simply don't belong. You give people access to your mentality or your mind, your energy. They don't belong there, right? They just strip you of your energy and you can't do much with what they give. So I was like, you know what? Let's have a conversation about that. Of course, like I said, it was inspired by seeing you meditate. And I know that's been a part of your routine for quite some time now. But yeah, let's just talk about that, man. Like, what are you doing to protect your peace and your mental game so that you can produce? Because one of the things that I heard one of the people actually say at our staff meeting when we were in Houston, they said that I'm so exhausted that I can no longer be excellent. Like I can't operate in excellence because of how exhausted I am. I was like, man, that's a bar. I'm not even gonna lie. That's pretty good. I didn't
even hear that one.
I was like, that's pretty good. So yeah, let's just kind of, dialogue around that piece right there, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And more importantly, have you always been that way?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think the main thing for me now is the meditation. Like, in the morning and right before I go to sleep. Like literally the sleep meditation is for me to go to sleep because I have the habit of like TikToking before I go to sleep. And shout out to my few people that I send random TikToks. My TikTok feed is just crazy that it will get you addicted for like an hour. So you're supposed to be going to sleep and I'm like this whole time, right? Checking Instagram, all this great stuff. And I don't know how to unwind, right?
Yeah.
And what I realize is when I don't know how to unwind, then I wake up exhausted, right? And it messes with my flow. So for me, that has been really working in order to allow the ideas to come in as well as kind of like protect whatever I have going is, spending about 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and then like 15 to 20 at night, just meditating. I also, in the morning, don't really start touching work until like 11 or 12, depending on the day, right? I don't, but I'm a night owl, so I don't suggest everybody to do that. Like I go to sleep extremely late for me to have kind of that schedule, but whatever people's hours are, like blocking off that time just for you and not feeling rushed to create, not feeling rushed to do any type of work, not feeling rushed to answer emails or anything. So, the meditation, some type of activity, whether it's working out, whether it's just a walk or whatever, making sure that I'm always receiving information in the morning. So whether that's a audio book, a podcast of some sort, an interview of some sort, I'm receiving information as well, but based off what I choose to listen to. So nothing forced through social media or anything. I'm going, like, I have 3 books on the queue. I have certain podcasts that I listen to and certain interviews that I know that come up, whether it's daily or weekly. And so from that, it allows me to reset as well as, keep my time sacred instead of giving to the world so quickly and being so attached to, the typical social media routine in the morning. So that's just, some of the things. Some of the things.
Yeah, no, I like how you put that too. Getting information that you choose and not content that's forced upon you because you're just going through social, right? That's other people's thoughts and ideas, good, bad, or indifferent. It's nothing that you choose based on what you need. I like how you put that. Talk about, and this is the part that I think we might need to spend most of our dialogue, developing healthy boundaries so that people are not invading that peace, right? Because like I feel most of us, when you ask people like, hey, what's the thing that makes you happy, or what helps you to generate the most energy, or what's the best way for you to rest and recuperate? I think we have a good idea, right? Whether or not we can successfully do it, because maybe just financially, we can't seem to shut our minds down for long enough to fully rest, or whatever the case may be. I get that. But I think the bigger challenge is for those of us who allow people into our space, whether because we don't know how to stop it, or whether because we're doing it and we don't even know that we're doing it, allowing people into our space and they start to rip and run with your schedule however they may feel, or they don't value your time as much as you do. So you might be waiting on someone, they don't show up, now you're late, like just a whole bunch of stuff that could happen there. So talk about, how is that for you, just being able to deal with people in a high contact world who might want to put their demands on your schedule or your routine and what makes you feel most productive?
Okay, my blunt self is like, I don't really care about other people's schedule. Like, I used to. I will say that. I used to, if somebody needs me or would hit me up on my text, I'll answer it right away in those time periods that I deemed was mine. Really wasn't. It was like compromised, right? When it's me, it has to be me, because they're not going to put any time for me. They're not going, and you have to train people how to treat you and your boundaries and your times that are for you. If you don't train people to do that, they will continuously cross those lines because you've never you never established anything with them. So they feel as if they could hit you up at any moment, and you will answer them, and it is what it is. I used to be that way, and now I don't even really care, no matter who it is. They could wait. I don't think anything is that important that my peace and my time to recharge and get new ideas gets compromised because of your question, of your demand, of whatever. It could wait, and it normally does. And it's never really an issue, because I'll be like, this is my time. They're like, oh yeah, no doubt, I get it, I understand, and that's great. And if there's people who are like, nah, I needed this right then and there, I never put myself in those positions. I think I want to safely say that I never put myself in those positions to where my time has to get interrupted. I try to finish majority of the tasks and think forward of anything I may do to protect that time. So if that means I have to stay up a little bit later in order to make sure my time stays that way, I don't mind doing that. If it means that I have to go double time and push things to another day, I don't mind that either. As long as this particular time, this situation that I have locked in for me doesn't get tampered with, I don't mind what I have to do after that in order to protect that. And that takes some little bit of sacrifice, but it's so worth it at the end. Because if I could think of a new idea that day that can either create more exposure or more money or more influence, that's worth it, me staying up an extra hour, 2, 3, in order to get that idea. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think what I used to struggle with was when I think of like what would destroy my peace, it's control. Like I think I had control issues. I wanted to overly control the outcomes, and not control as in an aggressive way, but almost carefully create or curate what would be the result of what I'm doing. I wanted to be on top of everything, and I would stress every single little detail. And a lot of times what I was worried about were things that were beyond my control. So maybe that's a better way to put it. All right. So I think for those of you who are listening and you're immediately wanting to change something other than, say, just the standard mental health practices that you'll hear everywhere, which I'm not downplaying. I think they're incredibly important. But if there's something else that you want to bring some energy to so that you can see some improvements in being able to protect your peace, you will be surprised as to how much more calm you will feel if you can stop worrying about the outcomes that you can't control. Like if you could just simply say, you know what? I trust in the higher power. I trust in the universe. Trust in what you believe to carry the load for you so that you're not having to carry the burden all by yourself. And once you start just working through that a little bit and letting go and saying, I'm not necessarily operating in blind faith. I'm also professional enough, active enough, proactive enough to do certain things so that I can at least set it up in a good place, that there's nothing left but good things to come for it, should it be in the cards that are dealt for me. Like, I believe what's for you will always be for you and find you, no matter who or what tries to get in the way. So operating with that part or that mentality a little bit more has been incredibly helpful for me to say, relax, chill out. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying none of those things, but relax. There's nothing you can do about tomorrow, next week, or next month. Absolutely nothing. But if you can just focus all of your effort and all of your energy on today with what's in front of you, you'll be surprised as to how things start to turn out, right? It's like you have more energy. You're not dying at the end of the day or like just crashing. Because it was so weird. I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but I would have times where I'm sleeping a whole lot, but I'm waking up exhausted. So I'm sleeping because I'm tired. I'm sleeping 8, 9, 10 hours. That's a lot of sleep. But I wake up exhausted. And then you go to bed. It was the craziest cycle. And when I started thinking about it, I was like, yo, it's not sleep. It's not food. It's not exercise. It's the way I'm almost dealing with my own mind. It's the way I'm letting my own mind take over me, right? So I was like, bro, yeah, relax. I said, just let it go. So that has helped tremendously in being able to protect my peace and just know that, no matter what you do, you can't control everything. That's just the reality of the situation. All you can is just a few things in front of you now that will help to unfold the outcome of how things could be. Now, on the flip side of it, when it comes to people, right, and I'd be interested to hear your take on this, I found that people tend to feel that they are invited to manipulate or control your time, your schedule, your routine, whatever it may be, when you don't have direction for yourself. When you don't set your own direction.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
That's mean. That's mean.
I'm sorry, y'all.
That's mean.
I was hoping I'd get a reaction from you there. I'm sorry, y'all. When you don't set direction for yourself, they're like, oh, it's not like she got anything going on anyway. It's not like he got anything better to do anyway. Yeah, let me just pop up in their schedule and put my priorities ahead of their whole life. Hey, listen, that whole little life that you try and live right there, guess what? It ain't more important than what I want you to do for me right now.
Facts.
And then you start to feel the pressure, like, oh my God, if I don't do it, they're going to get upset, or they might say this about me, or what are they going to think? Or they might think that I'm not good enough, or I'm not proficient at what I'm trying to do. And you start stumbling backwards to satisfy somebody else's needs, who, quite honestly, they weren't entirely in need of what they asked for. They might have just been like, they might have just been like, you know what? It would be nice to, let me hit up Nicky for that. Hey, Nix, it would be nice to, let me hit up Vaughn for that. Hey, Vaughn, right? Like, just spinning their wheels trying to figure something out. So I will say this. If you are struggling because you find that people are invading your time and your peace, you need to ask yourself a tough question. Have I laid out direction for my own life clearly enough that people feel uncomfortable calling my phone asking for something at a time where they know I'm working on something? Like, people should be calling you saying, hey, I know you're busy. Like, when they say that, you know you're in a good place. You know you're doing something right when they're like, man, listen, look, only if you got time. Yep, absolutely. Talk to me like that. I want you to know that I got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I'm working on a lot of amazing things. I'm trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. But that at least lets you know this is someone who respects your time. But if someone calls, texts, emails, FaceTimes, knocks on your door with a mask on, hopefully, and some hand sanitizer, and says whatever they say without no questioning around your availability, your energy levels, just your own peace. And you got to know, man, this is either something I got to change or someone I may need to eliminate, because it just ain't working.
Man, I posted on Nicky and Moose Twitter something that Swiss Beat said. I work hard to say no.
Wow.
I literally 6 hours ago, depending on when you watch this.
Wow.
But I work hard to say no. Like, that I'm still hurt off of what you said. I'm still hurt. Oh.
Yeah. Sheesh. And I think it's a rookie mistake. Like, again, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like it's a rookie mistake, because when you're brought up on the mentality of, I got to work my way up to a certain remark or a certain regard, or I want to establish and build something, you tend to compromise. And I do believe it's necessary. In the beginning of a journey or a career, you probably have to do a little bit more than you typically would, because you need the extra client, you need that extra customer, you need that extra relationship to help accelerate your career. But at some point, you got to sit there and say, okay, how much longer am I going to work for somebody else's dream and press pause on my own dream? That's the part that I think, that's the part that makes you lose so much energy. You're not losing energy because you're working hard. You're losing energy because you're working on something that you know is not going to give you any return towards your purpose or your greater calling. That's the part that I believe is the greatest frustration for a lot of us, because we know that, at the end of the day, this is a check. And when you realize how money works, you know that money is not what it's all about, right? There's something greater than that. So I think, Nix, I don't know, man, that I have to kind of plant my flag on that one and say the lack of direction for our own lives, it's what's destroying our peace and almost inviting people to come in and just hit them with the Nicky shuffle and just remix it all around. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I gotta agree with you on that one. But also to semi-play devil's advocate with, in the beginning we have to like kind of compromise. I think if you hear so many horror stories of compromising in the beginning, do we still have to? Mm-hmm. So, like, if we were to set boundaries in the very beginning, and sometimes it's hard to because you think, okay, I got to make, revenue. I just created this business, created this brand. Like, there is some things I'm going to have to do, have to not. Like, but do you? Because when you start off that way, you sometimes don't know when to stop.
Yeah.
So it's a hard transition. And it's not like your worth changed. You feel me? Like your worth you're still worth a lot more than probably how you're working, what you're getting paid, what you're doing. Your experience goes up, but your worth, and of course with experience, your worth does go up to an extent, but you already undervalue yourself when you start compromising.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nowadays, with so many people showing, this is what I did in the beginning, how could we avoid that? Or do we set certain timelines of how long do we do the compromise until we check to see if we are in place to then be like, no, I'm not doing it. No, I don't take calls at this time. Nope.
Yeah.
No, this is me and the significant other's time. Gotta respect. Nope. This is worship time. Like, I think still those things can still be established in the beginning. You just have to stay strong with it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's hard.
Yeah.
That part's very hard. So I think it's almost like we can understand if you compromise in the beginning, but if you can stay true to who you are in the very beginning, it actually would probably increase your value than kind of hurt it in the beginning. Because it's like, oh, hold on. Like, okay, my bad. But I do have to agree with you with that. I know you're busy. I know I said, I know you're busy.
Yeah.
But if you have time, I love that. I love that phrase.
Right.
I love that phrase. But I'll say this. When I didn't know what really my purpose was, until to a certain extent, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like there's still more. So I always say that I'm not truly there understanding the purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But when I really didn't know, when I was just green, like doing everything, right? Thinking that that's what's going to gain me respect. That's what I have to do in the beginning. And I have to be super exhausted and outbeat everybody. To an extent, yes. I'm a competitive person. It makes sense that I do that. I have to stand out. Absolutely. But to another extent, I just didn't know where I fit. So I couldn't put all my energy in one thing or a selective lane because I didn't know. So I was getting thrown like a ping pong back and forth because I didn't put my foot down and say, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm putting my energy to. Mm-hmm. So I do have to agree with the, I allowed certain things to happen and cross those boundaries or didn't even have boundaries because I didn't know what I was doing. And I had to discover that, and I had to learn the hard way of, countless of hours, people taking advantage, wasting time on certain things that I shouldn't have wasted time on. These are just and you make the excuse of, oh, that's part of the game, builds character, blah, blah, blah. No, I hate that. Like, no.
Right.
It didn't build character. I'm the same person. It didn't build I don't know what type of character it's supposed to build. It actually allows you to tell people to not do it that way. So what character are we creating? But it's so important to understand and like sit down. Like, don't just go. And I'm that type. Don't just go. Like, sit down and really figure out, okay, am I doing things this way in order to create this result, or in hopes of this? Like, you got to see the light at the end of the tunnel, not like I'm just going through this and it'll make sense down the line. Like, I know why I did that, because that was my path that I did in the Navy. Like, I got in the Navy with no job, right? And normally for those people who are not understanding the whole military situation, like, you have to pick a job to go in, right? If you don't, you get this undesignated situation, right? And I was just like, I just want to be in the Navy. Same thing with how I'm in certain situations. I just want to be in the room. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. So you take whatever in order to be in that situation, right? So here I am, smart as all get up, roping in stuff, painting, cleaning up stuff, just in order to be a part of something, right?
Wow.
And not understanding that same path is what I did getting out of the Navy, because you see it from what you've been doing. Okay, to get into the top, because I eventually became an IT after doing all these dumb stuff, amazing stories, but all this dumb stuff in order to be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and discovered this is what I want to do. Then I get into the civilian world and did the same exact thing. Yo, put me here, doesn't matter what. Let me just get in the building. I'm going to figure it out. Boom, boom. Then I figured it out. But in the meantime, there's a lot of stuff that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're repeating the cycle and you didn't even know that. And sometimes we got to just sit down and realize, yo, we're repeating the cycle. We've done this before. Nothing that we do is brand new. Like, if we sit down, like, there's something, and it could get all deep if you want to, but it's something that we did, whether in our childhood, whether in our teens, whatever, right? There's something that we did that kind of mirrored it, and we're not putting two and two together because it's a brand new look. It was painted different. It was everything like that. So I'm like, oh, I need to stop this, because it's not supposed to be that way. I'm not supposed to just get me in the room. Let me just be a part of this. I don't care. I'll do whatever. No, I'm not meant to do whatever. I'm not here to paint walls.
That's crazy.
I'm the worst handy person. If anybody knows me,
that's crazy.
I break lights. I am not that one. But here I am in the beginning. I would say first 2-3 years, I would assume. I gotta look back, of just doing the most random things. Anything that needed to be done, it was that. And here I did it again, and I'm like, we don't know no better. We don't know no better.
Yeah, it's crazy. It reminds me of, like, I don't know, for those of you who first started driving, say in high school or something, and your friends who didn't drive were just excited that you got a car. So they get in the car with you and they're like, all right, come on, let's go somewhere. And you're like, all right, cool. Where are we going? I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then when you're young and you're excited about driving, you'll do stupid things and just drive. And after a while, you realize like, yo, it's difficult to drive when you have no directions. Like driving to go nowhere is super frustrating. It might not be for the passenger who's just joyriding, who's excited that their best friend got a car. It's like, yo, just ride around and play some music. But as a driver, after some time, you get some traffic. You're like, okay, I'm tired of sitting down for 30 minutes. Yo, where are we going? And at some point, you're just going to pull over and stop and be like, nope, let's not start driving before we have somewhere to go. And that's the same thing that we got to do with our days and our time. Like, don't start driving before you designated somewhere to go. You'll notice that it's so much easier to get things done if you know what is it that you're trying to accomplish. Like from anything, whether it be a creative message, whether it be a product, an offer, a training, content. I just did a training yesterday, probably one of my better trainings that I've done in a really long time. And it went great. It was easy. It flowed. I was myself. I didn't feel like I have to overcompensate or try and pretend to be something I'm not. And when I thought back as to why it worked out so well, it was very simple. I came up with a very clear title on what the training was about. So there was no guessing game. There was no fluff trying to fill up just words to take up time. I was clear on what the message was about. I knew what I was after. So that's the same thing that we need to do with our days and our time so that you're not stressing over things that don't make sense. Like you might give a little bit too much energy to something that isn't all that just because you didn't really plan something out for yourself. And I'm not saying be super structured with it, but you'll really sit down and give yourself an opportunity before you get going. Nope, I'm not driving till you give me directions. We're not going nowhere till you put directions in the GPS. Because getting somewhere, like I said, getting somewhere without directions is extremely uncomfortable and can just be crazy. So yeah, I got to agree with you on that, Nix, because for sure it's like you could be in a place, but to play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate to some extent, what about when you're not, say, incredibly talented at one thing just yet? Like you're still building up, like, I don't know. At least for me, I feel that when I first started, I wasn't sure what is it that I was talented at. Thank you for that wonderful comment. When I first started doing any level of talking, I would stumble over my words back and forth, and it was a terrible experience. So like even that, I couldn't have said, oh yeah, I'm going to be someone who is a podcast host or does trainings and does whatever. It's because that skill set wasn't developed yet. So would you say the same thing applies? I guess what I'm asking, would you say the same thing applies when you're not 100% clear or have yet to develop your gifts, some of those skills or talents, where you could say, yeah, no, I'm not about to go here running around, but you don't know what you're talented at?
I think you still have to create clear boundaries, right? Yeah, there's going to be a discovery mode. Absolutely. But there still has to be certain things you will and will not do, and not just be so happy about the opportunity, so happy at the job, so happy. Because down the line, you're going to get pissed. Down the line, you're going to feel exhausted, used in some way, shape, or form. And it's all because you didn't clearly, like, even if you have like a little inkling, like, I'll be honest. And okay. So I knew.
Yeah, give us the honesty. We want the honesty. That's where it gets good.
I hate you. So I knew I wanted to do something with content. I didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to do something with content, right? But here I am, fooling around with different tasks of events, fooling around, doing random calls to people I had no business talking to, finding things in stores that I'm not a shopper, like I'm not somebody's personal shopper, but here I am finding certain things, and I'm like, That has nothing to do with this particular lane. Now, I didn't understand what I was supposed to do, but I knew these parts didn't make sense, but I thought I had to do that in order to get to that part, right? But it really wasn't until, and shout out to Anthony Flynn, it wasn't until I had a conversation with him where it was like, and I stressed like, yo, I'm getting pulled for everything. Like, no one else exists. Why am I getting pulled when I'm really good over here? And he said, you got to get so busy that they stop bothering you. You're not that busy. But you are, but it's not to the point where they feel you are. You have to get busy. And I was like, okay. Don't know what that meant. It took me months to understand what that meant.
Yeah.
And I just stayed in this particular lane, and it all worked out. And I was like, okay, I'm getting less of these calls. I'm getting less getting pulled over here. I'm getting less pulled over there, you know, and it started to make sense. But I realized that it's like you have to set those boundaries of, I'm willing to do certain things because I'm not really sure what it is supposed to do, but in this particular category, at least, whatever in this particular category, if it's even getting coffee for this particular exec or whatever in this particular lane, absolutely. Figuring out what rug fits a certain house? No, not so much. Not so much.
Wow.
Doesn't understand. I don't understand it. So, you know, but that is a pro and a con of being reliable. And when you are the reliable one compared to maybe other people that are on the team and things like that, you get a lot of, yo, can you do, I know this ain't really you, but can you do this? Right? Like, can you do that? Because you're the reliable one and you know, they know you will execute on that. So I've always struggled with that. Yeah. I so struggled with being the reliable. I almost like the people who aren't reliable, like, get a pass, it feels like. You feel me? Yeah. Like, they're in no offense to anybody, right? But they're allowed to be dumb. Like, it's okay. It's all right. You know how they are. We can't give it to them. They won't do it anyways. What? Wait.
You know, this is why I think it's so important to be careful, though, because, and it's crazy, man. Like, I never would have realized that insecurities are gonna haunt you, and they could be personal things, right? Like personal thoughts that haunt you or personal issues that you struggle with. You'll be surprised how much a lot of those personal issues will bleed into your professional life. Because here's why. When you have, say you have value issues, or you question your worth, or you question if you're someone who's worthy and deserving of great opportunities and great financial gain and wonderful relationships and all of these great things, you start to take that abuse and you confuse it for love. You're like, oh, yo, you need me for everything. Yo, you love me.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
I swear it's just coming to me right now. Yo, I swear it's coming to me right now.
We're realizing a whole bunch of stuff. This is real life thoughts,
yo, it's
people.
coming to me right now. I swear to you, it came to me right now as I'm listening to you speak. It clicked to me. I said, when you have insecurities, right? Those personal things that you think will only haunt your personal life, or thoughts that nobody will ever see or know about if you don't tell nobody, they bleed into your professional life, because you start to think that the abuse and the constant delegating or whatever it may be, you start to confuse that as love, when it's not. It's you not having enough value around yourself, your skills, your talents. And you start to think that what's being done that's bad is actually good. It's the most craziest thing in the world. It's like reverse psychology, I feel like, is what ends up happening. And we justify it in our minds as to why it's okay. Like, no. I'm gonna make time for this. I'm gonna make room for this. Like, no, it makes sense. Like, yo, I want to help. No, of course, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, that's how it goes down. You gotta sleep on the floor so that whatever. It's like, no. So here's the answer to it, because I don't want it to seem like I'm just going overly deep for no reason. Even if you don't have a skill or a talent that's developed, you need to put boundaries around your interest. That's what I heard you say, Nix. That's what I heard you say, Nix. Okay, you might not have. You're right. What me and Nix both said is right. If you don't have skills, talents, experiences, connections, you have to do certain things that most people probably don't if they have a particular skill set, because those who are talented usually get a pass. Like, I know for me, when I played baseball or played sports, usually the most talented player on the team got a pass that other players on the team probably would have got in trouble for, right? Like, if you were not the greatest player, you would have got called out for certain things that the greater player probably wouldn't. Like, they'll just get the pass. No, it's cool. He's our MVP. It's okay if he doesn't run hard or if he doesn't hustle. They give you a pass. So even if you're not there yet, having fully developed skills, gifts, talents, experiences, the whole nine, you need to place discipline around your interests. And if you are going to compromise in areas of your interest. I love what you said, Nick. Like, I don't mind getting coffee for the exec who's in my area of interest, but not doing this random whatever for someone who is in, I don't know, accounting. It's like, what? No, you have no interest in accounting. Why help? Why go crazy? And I'm not saying, again, people will say don't burn bridges and take it all in context, right? We're not saying only be nice to people who can do things for you. I want to put that out there in layman's terms as well. I'm not saying that, but just be mindful of you being thrown around into a lot of different areas that you can't possibly have sight of who you are and what you're doing, right? Or what you could develop into and one day become. It's because you place no boundaries even around the things that you're interested in. So yeah, I'm just translating what you said, Nix. I heard that a little bit differently, but I was like, yeah, I think we got it now. I think we got it.
So bad. But I also don't want people to be like, okay, let me say this very honestly. And okay, here we go, right? So though we're our worst critics, right? So sometimes we think we suck at things and we don't necessarily do. No, this is for the people who like really suck. Like, and you come out with excuses of why this and that is not working out, or why this is happening, or why there's so many delays. No, you suck, okay? Like, no more excuses. You suck. Everything we said today, this doesn't apply to you, all right? You're going to have to do some things that you don't want to do because you suck. I'm sorry. It is what it is. Until you figure out, oh, snap, I don't suck. I really am taking ownership of certain things. Then it all comes to play, right? But what I've realized, and this is my opinion, right, is, well, I'll say two things. One, there are people who are too, like, they see the best part of success, and they hear certain podcasts like ours, certain shows like ours, and others, successful situations, and they're like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna take these lessons and I'm gonna run, I'm going to do that. And like, but really are not in a path of success. They're just in a path of excuses, right? Don't take the good parts and just go with those. Oh, they said have time for self. So I'm going to block out but you didn't do your work at all. I said something very specific. I spent extra time to make sure I had time to myself. Some people will just hear, for my mental, I must spend time to myself in these particular hours. And you pick the most got me stuttering. You pick the worst. Yeah. When you know your phone is going to ring. No.
Yeah, you pick work hours to chill and do self-care.
Yeah. No, this does not apply to you, okay? There's certain internal things and external things you still got to work on. And we're here for you, but work on them first before you go and look at the lessons and be like, oh, you know what? They said set boundaries. No, I'm not going to do that. And it's an essential thing. No, you have to do that. What are you talking about? Right. You can't say no to this. No, because this is not what I want to do. Now, on the flip side, real quick, I love how, and there's so many different memes and reels and TikToks right now that are going along with like Gen Z and millennials, like literally saying, wait, this isn't part of it? No, never mind. Don't want to do it. Not at all. And like they already have their boundaries, like they were born with boundaries.
Right.
They were born with it, right? I respect that. And the crazy thing is like, I said this before, I was on a live. I'm not going to mention his name, but he know who he is, right? And he was like bashing like younger generation. They don't have the work ethic as us. They don't do this. They don't do that. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, are they supposed to do the same thing as us? Are they? Like, there's certain things, and hence why there's shows like this where there's certain things where we don't have to do these things again. Yeah. We don't have to, on a Diddy status, walk all the way to Brooklyn for some cheesecake for no reason.
Seriously.
You feel me? Like there's no need for that. Catch an Uber now. Wasn't that simple before, right? There's other ways. There's those portable scooters, all that great stuff, right? There's things to make life easier. And they understand it and they utilize what they know and the technology to make life easier for everybody. That doesn't mean they don't have good work ethic. It just doesn't have your work ethic. So I want to give props to millennials and Gen Z because I feel like they were super born with no. They just no, not doing it. Nope. I deserve this. And that's amazing.
Yeah, they came in with their priorities straight. They already know. It's like, listen, mental health matters. My personal time matters. I want to have a life outside of work. That also matters. So if you invade it, I will quit now.
Yes.
No, for real. I know exactly what you mean. Gotta love it. I'll say this too real quick, just before we close. I'll make one more point and actually got a kind ask of all our wonderful people tuned in here, if you guys don't mind, guys and gals, of course. But first, I'll say this. Number one, or this might be number three. I lost count. I don't know what number we're up to. But I will say one of the things that is probably also destroying your peace is that you're congested. Like you got so much that you haven't followed through on that you're upset at yourself for continuing to let you down. Like you have made so many mistakes about like, I'm going to do this. And you don't do it. I got this great idea.
If y'all don't fill up this super chat and super thanks with all these things that Moose is saying today, I feel like I owe him money. Good God.
Yeah. And I'm coming out of that season to some extent, at least on the creative side, man. So I feel like I'm I'm finding my tone again or finding my voice again. So, use me as an example, man. I don't mind. As long as we can help the community at large, I think that's important. But for sure, I will say, man, like if you're congested, if you got so much stuff in your backlog that you haven't put out simply because of the main things, I'm not going to say nothing that you haven't heard, but just other people's thoughts, their opinion of what they're going to say if you put this out, you got to let that go.
Hold on, you see what Vaughn did. You see what Vaughn did.
Let me chill out. Let me chill out real quick.
Shout out to Vaughn with the major super chat. She said, "Yeah, no, Moose is putting in that work. Here you go. Here you go."
We appreciate you, Vaughn. We appreciate you as always. Absolutely.
Yeah, shout out to Vaughn.
Absolutely,
man. Yeah, let's go before you drop another one, and I literally have to stroke a check real quick because I'm hurt by a few things you said.
Hey, I'm about to get some money from Nick's too. Let's go.
Look at that. Shout out to Rain. Hold on. Shout out to Rain for the super chat. I see you. But go ahead, Moose. My bad.
Love it. Yeah, well, not to interfere with the super chat because I don't want it to seem like we're asking for super chat and this, but I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast or somewhere, but I recently joined the board of advisors for a Bronx high school, so a local high school here in the city. It serves predominantly first generation and Latin students, right? So as you all know, man, this is like my exact experience, right? Like this is literally my life upbringing, being the first of my family to go to college and figure out that whole upbringing and finally get on the other side. I almost feel like I must. Not that it would be nice to do, but that I must go back and help out. So anyway, we're having a dinner on June 1st to simply raise awareness and, of course, raise scholarship dollars for these kids who are going to college who may not necessarily have the funds to get them there, right? So a lot of them are getting accepted, but not all of them will have the funds. So here's what I'm asking for, right? If you guys don't mind, stop by. I actually updated some things on my Instagram today. So I added a link in my flow tree. Is it called flow tree? Flow link? Something like that?
Flow page?
Flow page. I added a link to my flow page that has some information about the event. So if you're interested in attending, please check it out. If you'd like to make a donation or support one of the kids, please do so as well. If you're a business who wants to sponsor the event, and you're a local business, which would be great for you, right, to get some awareness in a local community, again, just reach out. Want to do a little bit to help out our people at the American Dream School. So y'all check it out. But yeah, man, just wanted to share that.
Let me see if I could pull it up real quick. At least the flow page real quick. Let me see what I can do. Right here. Bang. Boop. All right. Oh no, it went away. Here we go. Bang. All right. Nice. Go to flowcode.com/page/Mustafa Konam _.
Yeah.
Or just go to his Instagram. It's a whole vibe. But I'll be donating. I'll be donating because I owe him money now. I feel like I owe you money. This is crazy.
Send money over there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is crazy. But all right, people, we are out of here. Make sure you listen to episode 84. So many gems. Shout out to Isaiah. He's about to clip up a whole guap of things and try some new things on our YouTube channel and everything. Go check that out. The full video will be out Wednesday, 8 p.m. Every Wednesday, we drop the full episode of the podcast. So go check that out.